Hey everybody, Flip here, co-founder, one of the co-founders I should say, of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies. And this is our podcast, and our podcast is Real Talk which is Real Talk for the real estate investor. And today we've got a new guest with us. You might have seen him on our recent vlog, but this is our Director of Operations of Acquisitions, Mr. Matthew Packer.
Thank you.
Welcome. Also goes by Packer,
Pac-Man.
Packerama.
Yeah. There you go.
Pack it back. So we're going to talk to you. The main thing about this podcast is the running and leading an acquisitions company. And I actually wanted to host this one because, well, the acquisitions company was me for 3 years by myself. And so thankfully now we've expanded. We've brought you in. We brought in some other guys and other guys and girls, I should say. And we now have an acquisitions department.
Yes, we do.
Not a department of one, but like a department of many. And so this podcast is going to be all about that. So again, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. Our pleasure. So tell us about yourself and your background.
Well, how far back do we want to go? I mean, it was
as far as you're comfortable.
Let's see. It was a cold Friday, February 13th in Columbus, Ohio. That's probably a little too far, but no, like I said, from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised, had a very entrepreneurial spirit, from day one, I would say.
Right.
Like I collected baseball cards for the, potential future value of them.
Right.
I did that. A whole trunk full of them. Yeah. But after high school, at the University of Cincinnati, obtained a degree in operations management. After that, I was able to kind of venture into some entrepreneurial things and, got into real estate as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a good baseball card, like one that was like worth something? Actually?
Oh, absolutely. I got a bunch of those.
Oh, do you really?
Awesome. When I started collecting, it was right around Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
Frank Thomas. That was my guys right there, but plenty of those rookie cards. But,
I started right around the Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig area.
There you go. So it was a couple days before me.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So what is appealing to you about running an acquisitions company? Because I'm sure this wasn't like, this is your dream gig, but it landed in your lap. And so what's appealing to you about this?
Well, it's funny you say that because actually it is turning into, a dream gig. I love it here, number one.
Right.
But as far as running an acquisition company, I think really running any type of company is really helping your people, helping your team grow, and get better. And that's what's always appealing to me when, obtaining a leadership role. How can I make them grow and how can I make them better? In this particular company, I'm actually able to help them and help our customers as well. So that's appealing on both ends. It's very, very gratifying. So
that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And when I said about the dream gig, it's like I just want to run an acquisitions company. You don't get too many people saying that.
I was 8 when I first thought about it.
Okay. So, so what about managing the acquisitions company aligns with your background and makes you successful?
I think just what makes me successful, I think my management style and my leadership style. I'm not a micromanager.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I like to let my team do what they need to do to get the job done.
Right.
Make sure they understand the goal. Make sure they understand where we're going. Give them the tools to get the job done. And then kind of let them be the CEO of their own business, if you will.
Right.
So I think that's what helps me be successful is really letting my people do what they need to do. Of course, I'll be here as a resource. When they need help, obviously I'm there, give them guidance. But I think, letting them do what they need to do on their own.
Right. We got a great team right now. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this is going to be a silly question, but what does an acquisition company do? And don't just say we acquiesce or we get acquisitions.
we get properties, right? So it's kind of in this, I guess, mindset, if you will, it's a twofold kind of question. Mm-hmm. Within the frameworks of Freedom Real Estate Group, I mean, as you know, but of course, folks out there, Freedom Real Estate Group, we maintain and how do I want to put this? we create turnkey properties for our investors.
Mm-hmm.
We handle every aspect of that.
Yep.
So that comes from the acquisitions, rehab a property, put a tenant in them, and then we'll turn around and give that to our investors.
Mm-hmm.
The acquisitions piece, of course, we go out, we find those properties.
Mm-hmm.
We call those folks, we try to help people out. So here, that's what we do as far as the Freedom Real Estate part. Now, on the flip side, we're able to help people as well out of the acquisition side. I would say 90 to 95% of the properties that we acquire, we're helping people out of situations.
Yeah, exactly.
Dire situations most of the time. Whether it be foreclosures, back taxes due, divorce, whatever the case may be.
Inherited properties.
Properties.
I got this property. I don't even want it.
I don't even want it.
Yep.
A good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a burden to them. So as part of the acquisitions company, we help help people alleviate those burdens. So it's.
Yeah, I always used to tell people, like, they're always asking me, what do you do? And I said, well, our company has this vehicle, and the acquisitions is the gas.
Is the gas, right?
And that's what fuels that vehicle throughout the process.
Absolutely.
So how does an acquisitions company serve our family of companies? And on the other side of the coin, how does it serve the community and other local investors? To sort of just answer that question.
Yeah, just kind of going back to that, helping people out of those situations. That's how we're able to help the communities. If these properties are run down, a blight on that area, if you will. We'll take that over, get that under control. And then, of course, helping out local investors. We are making it easy for them to get into the real estate field, real estate game. We will give them a property that's already, cash flowing, make it real easy for them, and hopefully, obtain financial freedom through that way.
So, absolutely. And another one that I just thought of too was getting calls from other investors. Hey, I bought this house 6 months ago and I was going to flip it because I watched that show on TV, and I can't do it.
It's taking me more than 30 minutes to get done. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So how many team members are in Cash for Ohio Houses that you manage, and describe their roles?
Sure. Being ahead of the whole division, effectively almost 15 people. Most of them are autopilot though. My marketing people, my HR, my financial people, my transaction coordinator. But for the most part, my day-to-day, about 6 of them that I really have to, guide, if you will, on a daily basis. Those start with our lead intake folks and our scheduling coordinators. They make those first initial contacts with those potential customers.
And they're not local. Where are they?
They are actually our VAs. They're over in the Philippines, and they're amazing at what they do.
Yeah, they're the best guys.
They are. They are. So it doesn't flow without them, really. But yeah, they make that initial contact. They make sure that we're going to be a good fit. We're going to be able to help them out. Then they pass them on to our acquisitions team. And they really dive in deeper, with the customer. Like I said, make sure we are going to be a good fit for them, make sure we are going to be able to help them out. And they effectively work through that process. We make them an offer. They accept it. We, of course, answer any questions they may have and walk them through that process. And, and that's what they basically do on a daily basis.
That's awesome. And they're local.
They're local.
They're right here.
They're right around the corner.
Yeah. So what are the different ways you find deals?
Initially, one of the best ways or biggest ways that we do are from the different lists that are out there, all public service lists. You have your tax list, your foreclosure list, your sheriff sales. Those are what our lead intake guys really go through, every day. But then, of course, the ones that I love, the ones where we have kind of molded relationships. And that's what I like to network. I like to talk with people. So another big way that we do, of course, wholesalers. I love wholesalers. I love our wholesalers. I love developing those relationships with those wholesalers. I want us to be their first stop, when they get something, their contract. And say we're going to go to Cash for Our Houses, we're going to go to Packer in particular, or his team, because they know what they're doing, they're efficient, they're effective, and we get the deals done. But that's another big way that we do it. And of course, there's a couple of ways where we help people earn money. Another effective way that we get leads is for our bird dog referrals or driving for dollars. It's a way for you folks to make some money out there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that here in a little bit.
So it's those are a few ways that we go about getting deals there.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I've always told the story that when Danny and I lived in Phoenix, I would drive every day for about 4 or 5 hours, and I'd pick up doing driving for dollars, and I'd pick up all the properties, and then we'd call them and we'd get them under contract, and then when I'd get them under contract, after about 4 or 5 months of living in Phoenix, we knew the 3 big buyers. So when I got them under contract, on my drive home, because everything took a half an hour to drive, on my way home, I'd call one guy. If he didn't buy it, I'd call the next guy. If he didn't buy it, I'd call the next guy. I'd have it sold before I got home. So one of the things when we got here to Ohio is establishing ourselves as one of the big buyers, so that people understand, hey, when I get a deal, let's call Cash for Houses. They're going to buy it, and so it's in the driving for dollars. I tell you, it's a great way to do it. It's a lot of fun. I would just put on music and just drive around. But and we'll get into that here in a second. So what are some? How about a good story or case study about some deals that have come through the pipeline? Maybe a good, bad, and an ugly.
Sure. Well, nothing particular as far as the good and the bad, but it's kind of one of the same. The good ones are always the ones where you're helping people out in those situations that it's a burden to them. They tell you their story, you listen to them, empathize with them. You make them an offer, and you can just hear the joy, through the call. You can see their face lighting up, like, thank you.
Thank goodness.
They're thanking you,
Yep.
For helping them out. And of course, the bad is when you can't.
Yeah.
When it's too much of a burden, just makes it impossible. Liens, whatever the case may be, title issues.
Yep.
As far as an ugly. Actually, very recently, we had. I guess you could say we got scammed.
Yeah.
Out of
and not only us, but the title,
everybody, the whole
yeah.
gamut, everybody got scammed. So apparently he was an avid scammer. He's done this before. He effectively got a property deeded in his name and sold us the property.
Yeah.
The issue was the person that signed it over to him died 3 years prior to him getting it.
How did he sign that? That's pretty impressive.
So, but that's kind of the ugly, so lesson learned, one for the record books. Something all you new investors and, people should know, always get title insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's very important, because this one could have been uglier than.
Could have been ugly. Luckily, we didn't start any work on it, but
yeah. And everything is all resolved. I think we only lost a little bit, but not much at all.
Not much at all.
Yeah, I could tell you what's funny is the good, the bad, and I'm just thinking through the Rolodex, hundreds of properties. I'm going, I can think of a bunch of good and bad, but the unfortunate part is the good ones never last long.
Right.
They're the ones that we get it under contract when we close in 7 to 10 days or whatever, and it's gone. You don't even see it again.
Exactly.
The bad ones are the ones that drag on. And I think of one that we actually did a case study a couple years ago on it, and we got it under contract in January. We didn't close on it until August.
Oh, wow.
And it was, one thing after another, and yeah. So, yeah. And then the ugly, too, the not being able to help people. A woman wanted to sell her house, and we got all the way to contract and got all the way to title, and they said, okay, well, where's her husband? And she's like, I don't know. He's in Chicago somewhere. I haven't talked to him in 2 decades.
Wow.
And she couldn't sell it because in Ohio you have to have both signed in because they're still legally married. So that's an ugly one because we felt horrible. There was nothing we could do.
Right.
So, so if people are interested, we touched on this a little earlier.
Yes, we did.
If people are interested in getting paid to help us find properties, or they are an investor who wants to buy some of the properties we find, how do they get in touch with the right people on your team?
Absolutely. Well, if you want to make some money, like I said, bird dog, driving for dollars, makemoneyfindingproperties.com. Real simple there.
It's right here along the bottom of the
right
screen,
there.
I'm sure.
Right here.
Yeah.
Potential investors, you want to learn about the turnkey process or want to get into real estate, cashforohiohouses.com. Best way to get a hold of us. We have a 24-hour turnaround policy, so you get in touch with us, you'll hear from us. If not that day, the next day for sure. So.
Yep, and if you're just an investor that wants to, because if occasionally we wholesale properties that we don't buy,
Absolutely.
and they might buy something like that, or if they want to send us properties, just send them on over.
Please do.
So is there anything else you wanted to add?
Like I said, once again, thanks for this opportunity. Reach out, Cash for Ohio Houses, Flip, Danny. Gotta love these guys, and hey, invest smart.
Live happy.
There you go.
See, that's how we end it. See you guys.
Have a good one.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific personal or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.